coming to stand at the top of your mat. Let's start to organize the body, keeping the side body lines in mind. So as a quick review, we have an inside and an outside side body line. The inside connects from your big toe. The line runs through the inside edge of your leg, up through your torso, connecting through the inside edge of your arm and out through your thumb. And then we balance this out by connecting to the outside line from your pinky toe. The line runs up the outside edge of your leg, the outside edge of your torso, and then the outer edge of your arm connecting to your pinky finger. And the side body lines are all about finding the strength and organizing the body around that strength to find the openness that we need in the postures. So let's close our eyes here for a few minutes, grounding into your breath, sinking into your ujjayi breath in and out through the nose, slight constriction at the back of your throat. Allowing this breath to guide you as you reach the crown of the head up and ground strongly down through your feet. Taking a moment to really drop into your body here. And then let's bring our hands up, nice and tall, reaching here, palms touch. And then let's exhale over to the right for Chandrasana. Let's inhale back up through center, grounding strongly through your feet, reaching here. And exhale over to the left. Let's inhale back up through center, lengthening here. And then exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, look up with a flat spine, reaching the crown of the head forward. And exhale, jumper step back into high plank. And then let's lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling into upward facing dog, really dropping your shoulders down your back. And exhale, downward facing dog. Moving to Virabhadrasana D, inhale, step your right foot forward. Let's rise up with the arms and steady into the pelvis. And then exhaling your hands back down onto the mat. Stepping back into high plank and lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And switching sides, left foot steps forward. Let's come up with the arms nice and strong into the legs as you lift and reach through your fingertips. And then let's exhale our hands back down onto the mat, stepping back into high plank, shoulders over your wrists as you lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. So your hands are shoulder width apart and your feet are hip distance apart. And then take a moment here to bend your knees slightly if you need to. Find more extension in through the spine and allow the tailbone to really curl up towards the ceiling. Finding extension through every inhale and every exhale. And then we'll bring our gaze forward. Taking a moment here. And then jumper step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, let's rise all the way up. Palms touch at the peak of your inhale. And then let's exhale over to the left for Chandrasana. Inhale back up through center. Exhale over to the right. Inhale back up through center. And then exhale, release your arms by your side into Samastitihi. Good, again. Inhale, let's come up with the arms, palms touch. And exhale over to the right, Chandrasana. Let's inhale back up through center, lengthen. Exhale to the left. Inhale back up through center. And then exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, look up with a flat spine. Exhale, jump or step back into high plank. Lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Virabhadrasana D, inhale, step your right foot forward, rising up with the arms and steady into the pelvis. You can release your hands back down onto the mat. And we'll step back into high plank, lowering chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward. Come on up with strong legs here. Send the breath into your fingertips. Then exhale your hands back down, stepping back into high plank and lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very good. And start to connect to the posture, thinking about the side body lines. So first connecting to the inside line, thumb all the way down into your big toe, and then balance that with the outside line, pinky finger all the way down into your pinky toe. Engaging the entire body into the posture. Let's bring our gaze forward. Jump or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, let's rise all the way up. Palms touch. Then we'll exhale over to the left, Chandrasana. Even weight into your feet. Inhale back up through center. Exhale over to the right. Inhale back up through center, lengthen. And then release your arms by your side. Good, last one. Inhale, let's come on up with the arms. Lengthen in the center. Exhale to the right. Inhale back up through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale back up through center. And exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhale, jump or step back into high plank. You can lower your knees if you need to, lowering chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right foot steps forward, Virabhadrasana D. Keep that back heel lifted and stacked directly over your toes. And then exhale your hands back down, stepping back into high plank. And lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Then inhale, step your left foot forward, rising up with the arms. Keep following your inhales and your exhales with your movements. Then exhale your hands back down, stepping back into high plank and lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And just watch how the body starts to open up now at this point in your practice. Really connecting to the breath and watching how the breath is really grounding your mind into the body, helping you to stay focused on your practice. And then let's bring our gaze forward, jump or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen here through the spine, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, let's rise all the way up. Palms touch, lengthen here. Exhale to the left. Inhale, exhale to the right. Inhale back up through center. And then release your arms by your side into Samastitihi. Good. Let's interlace our hands out in front of us. Taking a moment here And then we're going to start to reach our palms up towards the ceiling. So really ground strongly down into your feet and then lengthen up here. Palms facing up, hugging your arms closely into your ears. And then engage in through the torso. So draw your belly button towards your spine. Find the lift in the pelvic floor and maybe find a little more length here. All the while keeping the breath steady and rhythmic. Good, and then we're going to flip the palms the opposite way. Now tops of the hands reaching up towards the ceiling. Same way of organizing the body, connecting to the side body lines, finding the support to lengthen and lift up. So with that strength, we should feel a certain amount of lightness and space in the body. And then now let's start to lean back, coming into a gentle back bend and ensuring that you're not resting into that lower back, but lifting up and out. And if it's really coming into your lower back, then just release from the posture, lifting up through the center, and then exhale your arms by your side. Samastitihi. Let's take a step back to the top of our mat. Inhale your arms up, lengthen, and fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhale, jump or step back into high plank. Lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bringing your gaze forward right away, jump or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, let's rise all the way up, nice and strong as your gaze comes up. And then exhale your arms into Samastitihi. Good. We're going to take a step back with our right foot, coming to Utthita Trikonasana. So right toes pointing towards the back of the room, left angled towards the side, and your arms come up parallel with the mat. And then let's move into the posture, right hand onto your shin, top of your foot, or to the inside edge of your foot. And you want to ground strongly through your feet so you can find lots of extension through the right side of your body. This extension is supported by the strength of the legs and the lengthening up out of your fingertips. So always balancing the posture here in every direction. Expanding and expressive. A couple more breaths here. And then let's rise up, bending into that right knee, sinking nice and deep, moving to Virabhadrasana B. So your feet remain where they are, and then your arms are coming up parallel with the mat, and bring your gaze straight forward. And really play with the placement of the torso here so that you are stacking the pelvis and reaching up through the crown of the head. And make sure that while you're organizing the torso, that you keep sinking into that front knee. And then let's bring our right elbow onto our right knee. Left arm reaches across your ear, or right fingertips can come to the inside edge of that right foot. Taking the full expression of the posture for you here, lengthening through your fingertips. And energizing the posture by using your consistent rhythmic breath. And then let's start to release from the posture, inhaling yourself all the way up. Let's pivot on the toes and move into Utthita Trikonasana now on the left. So both legs remain straight. Left hand onto your shin or to the inside edge of that left foot. Right fingertips reach straight up towards the ceiling. Good. Really reach to the crown of the head and find the extension all the way out through the spine. Starting to organize and teach the body how we're supposed to hold it in these postures in order to create that openness and the healing effect of our practice. And then let's release, rising up, moving into Virabhadrasana B, now on the left. Same posture here. Lots of strength through the legs, lots of strength through the arms. And the softness, it can come into the shoulders, can come into the forehead. And there's a certain softness or a certain quality that can be applied to the breath as well. And then let's start to bring our left elbow onto our left knee, reaching your top arm, or left fingertips to the inside edge of that left foot. Good. Ensure you're really sealing the outer edge of that right foot down into the mat to start to pull up and engage through your right leg. And then let's start to rise up. Straighten that front leg, and let's come to stand at the top of our mat into Samastitihi. Taking a breath here, and then again we'll step back with our right foot, squaring our hips and our feet now to the back of the room, and making sure that we have a nice steady stance here. Then you can inhale your left arm straight up towards the ceiling, and drop your left hand onto your right shin or outside edge of your right foot. Right hand can stay on your sacrum to help you balance out your pelvis here. And then when you're steady, you can reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Parivrtta Trikonasana. You will feel the difference or it clicking into place when the pelvis moves back. So when that right hip comes back, your left hip comes forward, and you're grounding strongly through your feet. And then with that support, there'll be more openness through the torso. And then we'll start to unwind from the posture, rising up with the torso, and step your left foot back. We're coming to Virabhadrasana A. So make sure that your stance is wide enough, and then we'll start to bend into that right knee. Good. Pulling that right hip back, left hip forward. Eventually your hips are squared to the back of the room, but this will come in time with the softness and the openness of the pelvis. Keep dropping those shoulders down your back. And then we will start to move into our twists. So bringing your hands in front of your chest into prayer. Some of us will need to lift that back heel up, stacking your heel directly over your toes. And then let's cross our left elbow onto our right knee. So this is the first stage of the posture. If you have a little more space, you can drop your back heel down onto the mat. And for some of us, we're opening our arms up nice and wide here. Wherever you land in the posture, ensure that your full deep breath is moving through your entire body. If it's not, you might need to back out a little bit and reassess the posture. Just reorganize. Make sure that the body is sitting where it needs to be sitting for you to benefit the most from the posture. And let's start to unwind from the posture. Let's pivot on the toes. Now squaring to the front of the room, stepping your right foot in slightly, squaring through the hips, and then inhaling your right arm up. Right hand's going to rest onto your left shin or to the outer edge of that left foot. And you can use blocks here as well if you're kind of in between. And eventually your left fingertips are reaching up towards the ceiling. And then allow your breath to give you that expansive quality in the posture. So on our inhales, expanding to the outer edges of the body, and with the exhales, guiding that strength back into the center core point. And then we'll start to release, coming up into Virabhadrasana A. So stepping your right foot back, work to square through the hips, and then eventually our arms are coming up towards the ceiling. Our warrior postures are always strong in nature. But again, in order to feel the benefits in the body or to see the changes happening, that unwinding happening, there has to be a certain quality of softness occurring. So not holding on too tight or clenching in the posture. Then let's move into our twist. Bring your hands in front of your chest into prayer, lifting your back heel, and then cross your right elbow onto your left knee. Maybe dropping that back heel and possibly opening the arms up here. Taking the same posture on this side as you did on the right side. Again, checking back in with the breath. Ensuring that you haven't twisted too deeply, that the breath becomes short and lies in the chest. Good. Releasing from the posture. Let's rise all the way up and come to stand at the top of your mat into Samastitihi. Okay, let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, let's rise up with the arms. And exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, look up with a flat spine. Exhale, jumper step back into high plank. Shoulders over your wrists, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Looking forward, let's jumper step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, let's rise all the way up. Stand up nice and tall. And exhale, your arms by your side into Samastitihi. Good, let's move into some of our balancing postures. So really ground strongly through your left foot. Hands can come onto your hips. And then let's lift that right knee up, catching onto your right knee with your right hand. You can stay here or you can catch onto the outer edge of your right foot. Full posture is to straighten that leg out in front of you. Uttita Hasta. And if you straighten that leg, see if you can really drop that right hip back into place, curling it underneath you without losing the engagement of the torso and reaching up through the crown of the head. Good. Yeah, you can bend into that left knee slightly, especially if this helps you find a little more length. And we can start to move that right foot out nice and wide, coming into variation B. Steady the breath, and it'll help you steady the body. We can guide that right leg back through center, hands onto your hips, extending that leg for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Right foot drops down to meet your left. And then let's switch sides. First, ground into your right foot, and let's come up with your left knee. Left hand can catch onto your knee or outer edge of that foot. And then when you've moved into the full expression, take the exact same adjustments onto this side to find the length. And then for the last couple breaths here, all you need to do is drop into the breath, allowing the subtle sensations of the posture to wash over the body. And then we can start to guide that left foot out wide, nice and wide. Finding the place for your right hand. It can stay on your hip or reach out, extending in all directions. And let's guide that leg back in through center, hands onto your hips, kicking that leg out for 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Coming to stand at the top of your mat. Inhale, let's reach the arms up, lengthening here. And exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhale, jump or step back into high plank. Lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Bringing your gaze forward. We're going to step our right foot through for our first Anjaneyasana, dropping your back knee down to the mat. Now, first option is always to place your hands onto your hips, really grounding down into kind of the back of the hip there. Good. Sinking into that front knee. Second variation today is to reach your fingertips back and lengthen up and out of the lower back as you bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. Good. Ensuring that you are sinking into that front knee, but that you are also lifting up and out of the pelvis. So we're not collapsing down into that leg. Good. Taking one more breath here. And then we'll start to release from the posture. Again, option is always to have your hands onto your hips, supporting your lower back. Or we're going to catch on to that left foot with both hands and start to kick your left foot back. Again, finding that openness and expression through the chest. Good. Find the strength in your breath. And then let's gently release that foot down and step back into downward facing dog. And we will switch sides. Your left foot steps in between your hands, dropping your right knee. Taking your first variation of Anjaneyasana, hands onto your hips. Or reaching your fingertips back. Eventually your fingertips are reaching and touching the mat, but you can also use blocks here if you need a little more height and a little more support. Good. And then let's move into our second variation, possibly catching on to your right foot with both hands, reaching back, and then flex through the toes and start to kick back. Use that left foot strongly down into the mat to find the lift necessary to support the pelvis here. And then let's gently unwind from the posture, stepping back into high plank. We'll lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths here in downward facing dog, settling back into the rhythm of the breath. Then let's bring our gaze forward, jump all the way through onto your seat, and let's take a nice wide stance with our legs. Heels grounding strongly down into the mat, toes up towards the ceiling. You can bring your hands behind you, and this can be where you stay today, especially if it's deep enough and it's helping you to keep the pelvis rolled forward. If you need to move deeper, you can start to walk your hands forward and maybe catch onto the outer edges of your feet, working your belly button down towards the mat. And as we start to move our practice down onto the mat, I want you to keep the same intensity and dedication into the rhythm of the breath that you started the practice with. And this will help you to stay focused and help to ground the mind. Maybe moving a little bit deeper into the posture for the last few breaths here. And then let's release, sitting up nice and tall, bringing your feet together. And then let's come back into high plank. We'll lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then we'll move into side plank. So place your left hand into the center of your mat and start to roll onto your left foot. stacking your feet here. Reaching your right arm up towards the ceiling. Few options. You can step that top leg in front. And then if you want an added challenge, you stack the legs. Or you can possibly grab onto your knee or onto the outer edge of your top foot, working to straighten that leg and really ground down through your right foot onto the mat, finding the lift all the way up through the torso. Keep the breath steady as the intensity rises, and then you can release if you have a hold of your foot. Let's move back through center, and we'll switch sides. Right hand moves to the center of your mat, rolling onto the outer edge of your right foot. And take the same variation here as you did on the other side. So either stepping that top leg forward, organizing the feet to touch, or catching onto your knee or your foot. Even weight into that right hand as it helps you lift and ground down. And then let's release, coming back through center, pushing back into downward facing dog. And then we're going to work our posture coming into crow or bakasana. So let's plant our hands strongly down onto the mat. There's two options. Your knees can work into your armpits, lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling, or some people like to squeeze your knees to the outer edges of your arms and hug them in nice and tight. So play with the placement of your knees. Start to bring your tailbone or your sit bones up towards the ceiling and bring the weight forward into your hands. Have lots of trust here into the body, and then maybe lifting one foot. And if the strength is there, lifting both feet up. Keep your gaze forward and keep engaging through the torso. Finding the lift here. One more breath. And then we'll either jump or step back into high plank and lower chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And let's bring our gaze forward. We're going to jump all the way through onto our seat. Legs straight out in front of you. And we'll take a forward seated fold. So again, just like we did before, your hands can be placed behind you, especially if you're having trouble sitting up nice and tall. Keep rolling that pelvis forward. And then if you can hold the placement of your pelvis here, you can start to fold forward over your legs. Just watching how the breath is shifting and guiding you deeper in the practice. And if the breath is guiding the body deeper, then it naturally is also guiding the mind deeper. And everything starts to work together. So the body, the breath, and the mind start to work together and become coherent, functioning at their highest level. Moving a little bit deeper for your last breath here. And then we will slowly start to unwind from the posture. Sitting up nice and tall. And then let's come to lie flat onto our back. Moving into straightening your legs, straightening your arms above your head, and really ground the body into the mat. You should feel the support and the length here of the sides of the body. And then we'll move into our back bend practice. So let's bring our feet flat onto the mat, knees up towards the ceiling. You should be able to graze your heels with your fingertips. And then placing your arms back by your side. Let's really steady our feet, grounding them strongly down onto the mat. And then we will start to inhale our pelvis up towards the ceiling. For stage one. You can stay here. You can place your hands onto your lower back, walking your elbows more underneath you for added support. If you're still adding on, you can bring your hands beside your ears, fingertips pointing towards your heels. And then maybe pushing onto the crown of the head and possibly up into your full wheel. If you're in your full wheel, even weight between your feet and your hands, slight tightening of the glutes, and then lift that belly button up towards the ceiling. Taking a couple more breaths here, and then you can slowly start to release from the posture and come to lie flat onto your back, straightening your legs, straightening your arms, letting the sensations of your back bend wash over the body. Then let's bring our knees in towards our chest, rolling through that lower spine. And then taking a minute here, hugging them a little bit deeper. And then we're going to come into a twist. So opening our arms up nice and wide. And you're going to drop both feet over to the right, keeping your legs straight. And then your gaze can come over your left fingertips. So moving into this gentle twist. Eventually your shoulders are both balanced into the mat evenly. But this just comes in time. And you can use blocks or blankets where you need support here. You can start to slow down the breath a little bit here, but I want you to keep just as much dedication into carrying forward the rhythm of the breath for the remainder of your practice. Good. Let's inhale our legs back up through center, switching sides, dropping your legs over to the left, gaze comes over your right fingertips. Just understanding that we are starting to unwind the tissue of the body in order to create space so that we can reprogram it the way that best suits us and our life, so that we can function at a higher level. And then we'll bring our knees back into center and start to roll up onto the spine. And then let's come forward onto our hands and knees. And we'll set up for our headstand prep or headstand posture. So we're going to drop our forearms down onto the mat, interlacing opposite hand onto your elbows, and then releasing, interlacing your fingers, keeping your palms nice and wide. The crown of the head comes down onto the mat, and you're supporting the back of the head with your hands. Then you're tucking your toes like downward facing dog. Straighten your legs. And then you're going to start to walk your feet forward. And eventually you want your hips directly over your shoulders. And you can work here today, grounding strongly down into your forearms. Maybe lifting one leg, maybe lifting the other. If you're extremely light and steady and strong here, your feet should just float up off the mat like that, coming into possibly your full posture. If you're in your full headstand, there's very little weight on the crown of the head. So if it's a struggle and you need to kick up into your posture, I want you to work with a prep posture until you feel a little more steady here. So we still get the same benefits from the prep posture as the full posture. We'll take a few more breaths here. If you've totally just had enough, you're ready for a break, you can rest into child's posture. Your arms are coming down in front of you, resting your forehead down onto the mat. Sit bones dropping towards your feet. And sinking into the subtle sensations you feel in the body. Moving past the physical and starting to understand things from the energetic level. And then we will release, sitting up nice and tall, swinging your feet off to the side. And then we'll come to lay flat onto our backs. Coming into our final resting posture, Shavasana. So our legs are straight down onto the mat. Feet are flopping out to the side, relaxing through the hips. Arms are by your side. palms facing up if you need more energy for the rest of your day, or facing down if this is the last thing you're doing before bed. And as you sink into the body, start to soften the rhythm of the breath, allowing this soft breath to guide you deeper and deeper into the experience of Shavasana. We will rest here for the next few minutes. We can slowly start to bring our awareness back, deepening the breath. Maybe bringing a little movement into the body, eventually bringing your knees in towards your chest, rolling onto the right side of the body before making your way up to a comfortable seated position at the top of your mat. Taking a moment here to stack the body, maybe sitting up on a block. Hands can rest onto your knees, thumb and first finger touch. And just taking a nice tall spine, but softening your shoulders down your back so that we have the proper structure to start to explore our breath a little bit deeper. And just drop your awareness into your inhales and your exhales, watching them move through the body and paying attention to what effect they have on the mind. For first pranayama, we'll move into Nadi Shodhana. So your thumb controls your right nostril, your next two fingers drop to touch your palm, and then your last two fingers control your left nostril. Begin on the left side so that we really start to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So let's bring our hand up towards our face, taking a full inhale here and a full exhale out. And let's block our right nostril. Inhale through your left. The peak, block your left nostril, exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. The peak, block your right, and exhale through your left. And then let's inhale through your left, finding the comfortable peak. Block your left and exhale through your right. Inhaling through your right. The peak, block your right and exhale through your left. And then inhale through your left. The peak, block your left, exhale through your right. Again, inhaling through your right. The peak, block your right, exhale through your left. Continue on, inhaling through your left, finding that peak, blocking your left, exhale through your right. Inhale through your right, block your right and exhale through your left. And then finish up this last round, taking your time. When you're done, you can release your hand onto your knee and just settle into your natural breath. Just noticing how the body feels and the state that your breath is able to shift you into. Understanding that the breath directly starts to strengthen the nervous system, and it works with the inhale to successfully stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, and then the exhale to start to activate the parasympathetic, coming into this equilibrium or coherent state that we're looking to achieve. And then with the soft rhythmic breath, let's start to move into our meditation. Dropping right into the place where you last left off. Allowing your breath to guide you right into that space. And if the mind is overactive or starting to wander, just simply pull it back into that space and into the breath. And it's your dedication and your consistency to drawing it back each time that starts to strengthen your meditation and the experience you have here in this space. You can gently start to guide your awareness back, starting to deepen the breath, paying close attention to the place you got to in this meditation, so that the next time you sit, you start here, and we start building upon our practice here together. Taking a moment to rest into your intention. Taking a couple deep inhales and exhales, cleansing the body. And then when you're ready, bringing your hands in front of heart center. And gently bringing your awareness back. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.